So ROI tracking has always been a blind spot for marketers, and it's especially difficult now with so many integrated marketing campaigns that we're running. So we have our digital campaigns, we have our offline campaigns, more traditional marketing, and we know what we're spending, and we kind of have a good idea what we're getting. But it's always difficult to know exactly what tactics are producing the most revenue and how much revenue so that we can, have informed decisions about which levers to pull and what things to double down on and what things we may want to, minimize our investment in and shift to other areas. So this isn't nothing new as far as a challenge. Is a quote I always love: half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. So that was said by John Wanamaker, who was a famous businessman, and he said this back in the 1800s. So fast forward about 150 years, and we're still challenged by the same thing. We just don't know which tactics and what part of our marketing and advertising is working. So as a goal for Broadbase in 2024, we wanted to really pin this down and find an accurate way to track what's working and what's not. So really the three biggest questions when you talk about marketing ROI is, from any campaign, how many new customers did you get? What did it cost you to get them? Which most companies know what they're investing in marketing. And then what are they worth? So this one's a little trickier because you may have a customer that has an initial value when you first acquire them. And then also if you can keep them as a customer, retain them, they have, a lifetime value that you can start drawing some averages from and get a really good understanding what is your customer worth. So once you have these questions pinned down, which we can help with this, it's pretty straightforward. Then it becomes pretty simple math. You have your marketing budget, which again, most companies know this. Then you have the revenue generated, and this is where it gets a little fuzzier. And not only do, in our experience at least, a lot of companies don't know, cannot put a fairly accurate dollar figure on the amount of revenue their marketing is generating. They don't know which individual tactics are producing that revenue. So here's just kind of a model of what this looks like using nice round numbers. So if a new customer is worth $10,000 and you're able to acquire 25 of them through your marketing campaigns, that's 250,000 in gross return on investment. If your marketing budget's $100,000, in other words, if you invested that 100,000 to gain that revenue, that would be 150% ROI, which I think we all would agree was very, very strong. So kind of breaking it down a little further, the challenge is you are running so many digital campaigns and they're all pointing to your website. So if someone calls you or fills out a form or initiates a website chat and takes an action to become a lead, how accurately are you tracking whether it came from any one of these three and however many other campaigns, email marketing, other things that you're doing? How do you know which one is converting those leads? And then obviously when those leads convert to sales, you don't know how much revenue they're driving. So we figured out a way with a very robust call tracking system that we use, which I'll go ahead and post some links to some articles that we published on our call tracking abilities. So we were able to export our list of the individuals, customers that are calling through the website, and then we know which source drove that call. So if it was Facebook, if it was Google, if it was a billboard or a print ad, something offline, we have unique phone numbers that tell us where these calls are coming from. Then we merge that against the customer list, right? So our clients are able to provide us with, okay, here's all the new customers we got last month. We compare that to the call tracking list with a pretty high-tech artificial intelligence kind of machine learning technology that we've worked on. And when we find the matches, right? So we find if someone called, with their cell phone and that number appears in the customer list, we're able to go ahead and tie those two together and definitively say, okay, this was a Facebook ad that someone clicked on, came to your website, called you, and eventually became a customer. And then we can assign a dollar value to that particular customer as well as the campaign that it came from. And that's what this looks like. Obviously, this is just sample data, but you can see we're able to break down SEO, Facebook ads, print, et cetera. Anything that you're tracking with our call tracking software, we're able to tell you which tactic is producing the most leads, but also the most in revenue. Because once we know that dollar value of a customer, we can show you that and then compare that against what you're investing in your marketing. So it's pretty cutting edge from what we've seen. A lot of companies don't have this capability, and again, it kind of goes back to that quote: they know their marketing's working, they just don't know specifically what is. And from a competitive standpoint, that's very important, because if you're putting dollars into, tactics and campaigns that aren't yielding sales, leads and sales, and your competition has kind of got to step up and they know they have a better idea of what is, then you run a pretty serious risk of getting left behind and losing market share. So again, we always hear from our clients, I'd love to increase my marketing budget, but I just don't know what's working. With a solution like this, you'll be able to have that information. So if you're interested in learning more, go ahead and reach out. I've listed all our information below, and love to hear about, how your campaigns are set up, if this would be a fit, and go from there.